Hello, everyone. I'm Tracy Ariely, end-of-life doula and founder of Comforting Closure. As part of my interview with Jillian Nye from Better Place Forests, I was able to visit their site in Santa Cruz, California. Better Place Forests offers an alternative to traditional memorials. They provide an area where people can choose a tree as a resting place for the cremated remains of their loved ones. The ashes are mixed with soil and spread at the base of the tree, providing nutrients to the forest. Please enjoy this tour of the forest and feel free to reach out if you have any comments or questions. Thank you.
I'm Tyler, and I'm the General Manager for our Santa Cruz Forest.
I'm Alexis, and I am the Memorial Specialist in our Santa Cruz Forest.
We have 84 acres here of beautiful preserved forest land, and 3 of those acres are specialty protected memorial groves. We begin here at our welcome tent in the welcome area. It's a cozy and quaint place for people to take shelter if there's any weather happening, also to try and stay a little bit warmer during the winter. We do have some beverages and snacks. We also have Wi-Fi up here in the forest. We are about 40 minutes out of town, and we're able to help people with directions and navigation.
For people who are a little bit older or might have trouble walking or getting around, how do you handle that?
Yeah, so we do have both walking sticks that people are welcome to use, as well as our accessibility vehicle. It has been modified to allow the passenger seat to lower and swivel outside of the entire vehicle, making transfer from a wheelchair incredibly easy, and it really helps everyone to come and access the forest. Once people have landed and we've had a little bit of a meet and greet and shared what our offering is and so answered some basic questions, we'll then begin the walk down into the woods. And it's a really beautiful entryway to the forest. Generally, we start with this welcome trail and it leads down to our pond in Reflection Grove, and that really is the heart of the forest. It's the center. We have 5 different sections in the Santa Cruz forest, and then from there we'll chat with the families and see what kind of trees are you looking for, and we'll narrow down the scope of where to plan to hike for the day.
Can you talk about the trees that are in this grove, what kind they are, and how old is this forest?
So we have many redwood trees, the Sequoia sempervirens. They are such iconic looking trees. They grow so tall. They share root systems, which is really such an amazing feature. We also have madrones and tan oaks and coastal live oaks, as well as some Douglas firs throughout the forest. This is a 2nd generation redwood forest, so it was logged about 120 to 130 years ago. And where you see stumps, for example, this one here, once it was logged, then the root system was still alive. And it goes and grows all of these fresh sprouts, which turn into these towering trees after a century or so. So it's really beautiful to see how resilient redwoods are and how they're constantly replenishing themselves. You see various trees around that have arbor tags on them, and those have numbers, and the numbers are how we keep track of inventory. That's where we jot down health notes and things like that. And as you can see, there's a couple of trees over here that have these secondary blue tags, and those are indicating trees that are still currently available. Around our pond here, it has been the most popular part of the forest, and so there are very few trees still remaining in this area. This is our pond in the center of our forest. In the pond, there are hundreds, if not thousands, depending on the time of year, of the California newt. This is also home to the endangered red-legged frog. They're quite rare, but we have seen a couple of them in the last year. There are plenty of deer that come through, squirrels, also bobcats. And on some of our game cameras, we've seen foxes, as well as this summer, we saw our first ever mountain lion. Some people might be afraid of them, but they're honestly much more afraid of us than we are. They're really a sign of a healthy ecosystem. People are welcome to bring cremated remains, either traditionally cremated or through alkaline hydrolysis. We're really happy to be able to accept that option as well. The reason why we specifically work with ashes is because we want to incorporate the ash into the native soil that we have here, and this causes the nutrients that are within the ash to become more bioavailable and uptaken into the root systems of the trees. It also helps everything to solidify and become part of the forest floor.
Now, I know that you used to work at a mortuary. How is this different for you, and what makes this really special to you?
Well, I think one of the main reasons why I decided to look for something like this, I had always dreamt of working somewhere like here, but I got into the funeral industry over a decade ago, and places like this didn't exist yet. So I always had known I wanted to be more integrating nature into end-of-life choices. So when I decided to look into it and I found this, it just was kismet, as my mom would say. It was something I'd been dreaming of for a very long time. And as far as differences, I mean, it's night and day. I mean, just the whole energy here. The nature does a lot of healing work for us. We're just kind of here to be a steward of it. And I think it's just beautiful to be able to provide that for families. This is what a typical memorial setup would look like. This would be our second stop after we rested in at the welcomes area. We would come down to one of our tables, and this is what a traditional setup would look like. So here we have some of our dried wildflowers. This is a combination of calendula, lavender, and rose. And we encourage families to mix this in addition to some of the soil that we have here. These are our two vessels. This one here will contain the soil that we collect here on site. It looks something like this. And then this would be the actual combination vessel where we would combine some of the soil. The ashes would be placed into this vessel here, and then we'd invite families to mix both the flowers and the soil into this vessel here. So I think another element is just bringing life, in a sense, right? To kind of end of life and this cycle of life. The flowers, and they'll see that they're going to be blooming soon when they come back to visit. Just a whole other element that we get to add and to offer to families. It's a very special practice here to place your loved one here at this tree and be able to be a part of that rather than, a traditional cemetery. Someone else is essentially doing everything for you. So here it's just really, really special to be able to have families doing that.
There's a huge need for this type of option for families, and so we're doing everything we can to be able to continue offering this for many years to come.